What's up, y'all? Sabrewolf94, and we're going to be taking our updated Magnezone deck with the new consistency cards and the added Snorlax GX tech, EV and Snorlax GX deck. I gotta say that because there's actually a Snorlax GX promo, regular GX too. But yeah, we're going to taking up this deck for a spin, see how it fares in standard once again with the updated list that I'm using now and our new cards, and see how things go. So I've got a pretty interesting hand here, waiting for my opponent to do his own shit. Opening up with two Magnemites here. It's not so good, but at least I've got the escape board. We can get that Magnemite out of the way. And what do you know? I'm opening up with Jasmine. My opponent is playing first. So you guys know what this means if you know what Jasmine does. Unless my opponent uses the fucking Marshadow that fucks with your hand, then we'll be able to search 5 metal Pokemon on our turn here. So pretty good. I've got the option to get Lily too, since I have Ultra Ball. If Lele's in the deck, we can do that too. But it's just such a great effect that you want to utilize Jasmine if you can. There's a reason they made it kind of limiting. You can only works if you go second and if it's in your first turn. Because searching 5 of any Pokemon, it's a very strong effect. It's crazy. So this is what we're going to do here. First thing we do, use our Jasmine here, and I'm going to get my Magnezone. I'm going to get the Jirachi, get Magneton, get Magnemite too, back up. Why not? And let me get a Solgaleo too. We're going to be using, hopefully, we're going to try and not use our GX dudes as to attack since playing up against Lost March. And as you guys can see, all my field is basically ready. Let's put the escape board on Magnemite, bring out Jirachi here, and I'll be able to use Stellar Wish, search even more cards, and let's see what we're going to get here. And the Candy, what do you know, of course, gotta love it. So you guys can see, thanks to Jirachi and thanks to turn 1 Jasmine, I can basically bring out Magnezone by my second turn if my opponent doesn't use Marshadow once again, or Judge or whatever. And that's very significant. This deck appreciates this kind of consistency. If you can get out Magnezone and start getting one-hit knockouts, decks like these become really unstoppable. Now, unfortunately, the issue here is that I'm playing up against Lost March, and I'm gonna go ahead and say this is pretty obvious, but Lost March is actually one of the matchups this deck is not good against, and it actually has a huge disadvantage because our deck is designed to use big attacks and get knockouts on big Pokemon with ease and get a lot of prizes like that. My opponent, though, playing Lost March, use 1 prize attackers, not a lot of HP, so they don't care how much damage we do because they would probably die anyway. And as the game progresses, they can get one-shots with 1 energy basically on any Pokemon. So it's really nasty, and this deck like really gets a lot of power from Team Up as well, with the new cards with Pokemon Communication and other shit like Erika. This deck of course can utilize that too. As you saw, my opponent used it, drew 5 cards, very good value still. And the fucked up thing though as well is this isn't just a regular Lost March deck. My opponent is utilizing the Ninjask from Lost Thunder as well. Very, very nasty. And at first I thought he was going to be using it to make his dudes not give any prizes, which is a fucked up effect already. But he's actually using it as well in a way to put more Pokemon in the Lost Zone, making it a tool, attaching it to Skiploom. Then after Skiploom hits the Lost Zone with the cards attached to it, you basically get additional Pokemon like that, and this deck becomes really nasty. It can kind of match the speed of Night March in a way, where you get a lot of Pokemon very quickly in your Lost Zone as opposed to the Disco Paw, and you can get one-shots very quickly. It's still probably not as efficient and quick as Night March, but I mean it's pretty damn fucking nasty. So that's what my opponent is doing, and our turn, all I'm gonna do is use Lady here. I evolved into the Magneton, and we get our metal energies here, and a pretty passive turn, but you gotta remember I've got my Magnezone here, So yeah, we evolved into it actually. I did have the candy. Okay, and we're gonna retreat and attack with the Magnezone here. Get me a knockout. I know that this deck really is very fast, really aggressive, and eventually can take up the lead. We're gonna have to use our our GX Pokemon eventually. So I gotta get as much of a lead as I can. So we get the first prize right here, and basically this is as good as a setup and control you can ask for against this Lost March deck. If they get the nuts, we got the nuts as well. Unless you get the greatest hand like I did here, and they don't, and they get shit, they have struggle setting up, they're gonna outpace you. So I'm hoping my opponent kind of struggles here, but of course he's still going. Even though we got the first knockout, my opponent's gonna be able to retaliate here. Already a lot of Pokemon in the Lost Zone, and place down the Oranguru as well. Lost March, 160 damage, 160 freaking damage, man. This is like basically his third turn or whatever, second turn, whatever, I don't know. Very, very nasty, man. Already out of the picture. And I promote Solgaleo here because it's a one prize attacker. That's all I can do. Just keep up the pressure, and hopefully my opponent doesn't see an energy or can't get a knockout or something, because we got to keep up the pace against a deck like this. So got 3 metal energies here. I still need one more. It's always sort of risky because we're going to use a supporter and try to see it. Like I've said, sometimes you got to rely on luck like this with these decks, but it's never pretty when you don't see it. So I'm using the Fuel Blower on my own card, basically, just to get that extra card. It was a very foolish thing. I mean, I did maximize my drawing capabilities, and we saw the metal energy here. Maybe we weren't going to see it otherwise, but the Field Blower is going to be very valuable. My opponent is playing a Ninjask, as I told you guys, and that fucking tool thing there, my opponent of course is going to use it to deny me of prizes too, and that's pretty nasty. That's another very big issue. So Field Blower is very valuable, and we only have one more left. Okay, so I get another prize. Good, we're keeping up the pressure at the very least. And I have ways to get energies back as well, because Solgaleo is going to get knocked out too. My opponent realizes what the situation is, and he's not going to let up either. He's going to make sure he gets a knockout every turn so that he doesn't fall behind. Now, one of the benefits we have, I guess, to turn this game around in a way, even though it's a GX Pokemon, is a good timeless GX attack can basically give me an extra turn and help me get even more of a lead on my opponent. I do have energy retrieval, I do have Mount Coronet, and with the Volkner I can get another energy retrieval from the deck. So we can make the timeless GX attack. So that's pretty good. This is going to be really pro if I manage to do it. Unfortunately though, as you guys can see, my opponent searched Ninjask with the Elm there. That's another damn thing. Elm basically searches this whole deck. And that's really fucked up because he's going to attach it to Natu, promote Natu here. And this means that this screws up the Timeless GX combo that I was going to do. I can still make the GX attack, but if I do, I'm only going to be getting one prize because of Ninjask. He's going to deny me one prize. So even though I'm going to make 2 attacks, get 2 knockouts, I'm only going to get 1 prize. So we have an option here. I can just go ahead and do it anyway, or just use Volkner and get the Field Blower, the other Field Blower from the deck. And unfortunately, that was a very big misplay on my part. What I should have done is conserve Dialga GX, and even though we weren't going to be able to do both things in this turn, the GX attack is still pretty important. What I should have done is use, let's say, maybe Tapu Lele or something, keep the pressure up, or just use a different attacker. Keep Dialga on the bench, and then try and use the Timeless GX attack later. But unfortunately, we didn't do that, and I don't know, maybe that wouldn't have worked out anyway, because my opponent is still gonna get a knockout on the Lele. So I don't know. It's just a very difficult situation. But you guys can see that this isn't a good matchup for a deck like this. Small HP, low HP, getting ridiculous ass damage. Man, I've never been a fan of these sort of decks. Both Night March and both Lost March. It's just some pretty cheap decks, in my opinion. Cheap made decks where you just do free damage for no reason. You just dump your shit and get one shots, and that's not cool. But anyway, what do I know? Maybe people feel the same way about Magnezone and Blastoise, whatever. At least these decks are very inconsistent. It balances out like that. You can't say the same about Night March and Lost March. Alright, so we don't have much of a choice here. I'm gonna have to use Dialga here and just use Shred and get a knockout that way. Hopefully my opponent can retaliate, but I highly doubt that. And maybe if we get lucky, we can use Snorlax here. I check my opponent's Lost Zone. He doesn't have quite enough to knock out this guy in one hit, and hopefully he can't put any more Pokemon in the Lost Zone. But unfortunately, he still has the Hoppip down. He still hasn't used all the damn Trumpics, I'm pretty sure. So let's hope we can buy enough time. I just need the Snorlax to be able to tank a hit at the very least. That's it. So Flora Path into the sky though, unfortunately. And my opponent, he's going to be able to have 8, 9, 10, 11 dudes there. So no matter what, things are very, very dangerous. I mean, and that's even before Choice Band. Like, I don't even know if he runs those, but if that comes down to, and he basically knock out everything, anything and everything, even Snorlax GX can't survive against this Lost March deck when they have all these Pokemon in the Lost Zone. I mean, as you guys can see, he hasn't even used all of the Trumpics yet, so damn. Still drawing cards with the Ranguru, still doing all this shit. Hasn't even played a supporter yet. He goes with the Cynthia here, and it's a very fast, very aggressive, very cheap deck. You know, they're gonna draw all their shit, and he can even use Guzma later on too and finish me off that way. So Timer Ball, he gets unlucky with that, so at least that's good. But 260 damage, wow. And even fucking Snorlax, he's just not safe. I can't even use him. I put an energy on thinking that I might be able to use him. He might be able to tank a hit. But you know, this deck, like this guy running this deck, I've played it against a lot of Lost March deck, but you know, this combo with Ninjask, it really just adds a lot of damage. It's basically 40 extra damage that the deck can put that way when they put the Nincada and Ninjask in the Lost Zone as well like that when you're attached in the Skiploom. So it really goes a long way. It's really fucking dangerous. So what I'm going to do here, because I can't do anything else, is try and use Magnezone, get a knockout that way with a one prize Pokemon, because everybody else is basically dead. Snorlax isn't, I don't even want to put Snorlax in the active position. I know that he's going to kill it. Any other GX dies as well. Nobody can survive. So that's what we're going to do. And use a Cynthia here for 6 cards. Can't even get another Magnezone out. So you guys can see it's not the deck, this deck, the Energy Acceleration decks, the Deluge style Rain Dance decks, for whatever type. They're never the most consistent decks. No matter what you do, you will face inconsistencies, because to make the deck work, you run, by default, you gotta run your energy retrievals, all your tools to facilitate the strategy, and that shit makes the deck inconsistent. So that's why it's not as good or as bad, unfair like decks like Lost March, Night March. You know, these decks, they have their limitations as well. They're pretty susceptible to certain tactics, but they're just so fast and they do so much damage that it's worth it most of the time. You know, there's a reason they're so successful. Okay, so I'm at 2 prizes at the very least, so I'm gonna try and make it a close game, even if I lose. We'll still have to wait and see. Maybe my opponent is gonna miss an energy attachment, but with all this drawing, with all this deck thinning, I doubt it. He gets another double tails on the Timer Ball, But I have to ask if he's even looking for something at this point with those balls. You know, there isn't any evolution Pokemon he can put down anymore. So a rescue stretcher, he goes with that, I guess. What are you gonna grab? Shuffles in the Shedinjas. Yeah, on a Shedinja, not Ninjask. Yeah, I confused the evolutions. What the fuck? Oh well. Yeah, he was using Shedinja so far, not Ninjask. Ninjask is the regular form of Ninkata evolution. Fuck me. Okay, so Lost March, he takes care of the Magnezone too. He's already doing 200 damage, as you guys can see, and there's nothing I can do. I promote Snorlax here, thinking that, okay, this is going to be the final move. No matter what I knock out, he can just retaliate back, and we don't even have a fucking Magnezone out on the field. So, using a Nest Ball, grabbing a Magnemite here, and I gotta use a Cynthia and shuffle all these cards back in and hope we get lucky. Otherwise, I can't do shit. And let's see here. Yeah, we don't even get shit. Okay, so I can't even get a Magnezone for another final move at the very least. So even if I did that, all he would need is just an energy, and the other jump love can finish off Eevee there. So yeah, I was gonna surrender, but I thought, you know what? No, I don't surrender for the most part. We're just gonna take our hit like a man, even though this deck fucked us over. And no matter what I did, even with the super consistent start I had, you guys can see this deck is just impossible for the most of the time against an energy acceleration deck like this. But anyways, still a GG. Hope you guys enjoyed this match. Hope you guys leave a like and share this with your friends. Subscribe for more TCG content. And I'll see you guys next time. Cerebro54, what's up?